It's my honor tonight to welcome our guest speaker, Mr. Will Francis. Born the eldest of 5 children, Will was born in Kansas City, Missouri, and graduated from Van Horn High School in Independence. He graduated from the University of Missouri with majors in criminal justice and secondary education. Will entered the military in 1985 with the United States Air Force. He was inspired to serve in the military because of family members who had served before him. His father served in Vietnam. His great-grandfather was a member of the Tuskegee Airmen, and numerous uncles and cousins also served in the armed forces. After training as a helicopter pilot, he flew many search and rescue missions. His first tour was in Germany, followed by a second tour to Iraq, and his third tour in Afghanistan. He attained the rank of Captain C3. Will currently is working for the Missouri Northwest Youth Center, and he enjoys working with troubled teens. He will receive his PhD in psychology from the University of Missouri this December. Will and his wife, Marlena, have been married for 15 years, and they have 2 lovely daughters, Fiona, age 12, and Farah, age 6. Besides volunteering with the Salvation Army in his spare time, working in the areas of youth with drug problems, he also enjoys golf and basketball. That's a mouthful. It's an honor. And would you join me in welcoming Will Francis?
Well, man, I forgot who Jim was talking about because I'm really no one to really look up to or look down to. I had no choice but to join the military after college. I came from a military family. See, back in the 50s and 60s, for an African-American man to escape the president of America, military was the only way out. It became a way of life. And I remember my grandfather telling me about the Tuskegee Airmen. I know you may have saw the movie, but it was nothing like the real thing. How they couldn't fly missions because they didn't think they were good enough, and they're the only crew who never lost a bomber. Never. Because they care more about saving lives than shooting down the enemy planes. So my story is no different from anyone else. And when I graduated, I was a high school teacher at Paseo High School. And the little recruiter was recruiting kids. I was over 21 years old, so I looked as young as they did. He said, "Hey, boys," I was like, "Who's this man talking to?" He said, "I'm talking to you, boy." I'm like, "Okay." He said, "I can give you $5,000 and put you in the military." I said, "Well, what do I sign?" Because $5,000 back then was a lot of money. So I ran home and told my dad, I said, "I'm going to the military. They give me $5,000. He said, "Where you going?" I said, "I don't care." You know, and next thing I knew, I was going to San Diego, California, and off to Kennedy School, and the rest is history. But when I signed up, I had no idea what I was signing up for. I didn't go sign up for an education because I already had one. But in 1987, some of you remember, Ronald Reagan told Mikhail Gorbachev to tear that wall down. And you guys don't know how close we came to a war. That was a yellow alert. I was a young 21 and 22-year-old pilot. Didn't have a clue past what I was going to do if they had to get up there and fly and shoot. But lo and behold, he threw the wall down. So that's the way that goes. And then when they bombed the Twin Towers, I guess they hit a sore spot with me because America has always been so open. We give everybody a chance who wants a chance. And when they did that, it lit a fire in me to go back over and do my fair share. And I remember flying one mission, I may have said it before, and I was picking up some wounded soldiers, some deceased soldiers, and I was flying a medevac, and it had a big old red cross on it, mean get no weapons aboard. And the warning lights went off on the helicopter, and the missiles were approaching because the helicopter have what they call heat-seeking missiles, and they go off the heat of the blade. And something said, turn right. I don't know why I did this, but thank God I did. And as I turned right, the missile came one door and went out the other. As soon as I turned, the missile came right through. One soldier just said, wow, that was hot, that's all. Nobody got shot. He was a jokester, by the way. He said, wow, Captain, that's a good job. I almost wet my pants. They had no idea. I was in there shaking like, yeah, I did it, but I didn't. All I was say was, thank you, Jesus. And when I landed the helicopter to get those people off of it, it had so many bullet holes in it, I don't know how I stayed afloat. The good Lord took care of me. And then my last tour was in a Humvee, and we had an IED bomb. We ran over one and split the Hummer in half. And all I had was a strap went on my chest, so it caused my heart attack in 2018. Because I never had heart problems, but I remember I was working in a car dealership. I was a finance manager because, like I told the pastor and so many others heard my story, I was money motivated, man. All I wanted to be was rich by the time I was, retired. And easy come, easy go. How much I made, I couldn't keep it because I was chasing too much. I remember having 2 heart attacks on the way to work. One heart attack while I was sitting at my desk, I just lunched over. I woke up in the hospital with my wife, my father-in-law standing over me. And thank God, I didn't kill anyone and kill myself. And when I had my reunion with the people I was in the service with, a lot of them, we encountered a lot of chemicals over there. And a lot of my friends succumbed to their death while they was here from the chemicals that we encountered over there. Because that first Iraqi war, when we go against Saddam Hussein, we didn't find no weapons of mass destruction, but we found a lot of chemical bombs. I don't know if I ever smelled any burning oil fields. It just burns and just gives so much toxic in the air, and it just really messes with your lungs. And we didn't know at the time, we had to take orders, we had to follow orders. And I knew I always had breathing problems. Even to this day, I can't breathe at night because it messes with my lungs. But I remember in a hospital in Germany, my mom and dad couldn't come at that time because I'm way overseas. They couldn't afford to make that trip. I had these oxygen tanks hooked up to me, and I like, Lord, just let me breathe again. And then at one point, I prayed for death because the pain was so excruciating. And Lord, just take me. I can't deal with this anymore. And after I got healed from that, I went to Afghanistan. I signed up for another mission, search and rescue. Because I remember telling everyone in my platoon to write a letter to their family. I told them to write a letter to the family because I told them I would make sure their family get that letter. I was their commanding officer. I told them I would bring them home in a body bag, in pieces, no matter everybody was coming home. And I kept that promise. I remember picking up body parts, pieces for men and women, but I brought them home. I kept that promise. But in doing so, I did a lot of damage to my body. And I took a lot of lives. Not proud of, but I had a job to do. Now you might say, how can you love the Lord and you took somebody's life, but they were shooting at us. And what I mean by that, we had no weapons above the plane except for the one gun that was attached to my helmet, because whatever I look at, it kills. And I made the order to put their weapons down, and they just kept shooting. So I had no choice. It was self-defense. I don't know if I killed Men, women, boys, I don't know, but my job was to bring those 17 men and women home. That was my job, to bring Americans home. I wasn't going to leave them over there by no means necessary. If it had cost my own life, then so be it. I was going to bring them home. You might say I was brainwashed that way, but I took an oath to defend this nation, and that's what I did, to the best of my ability. Am I proud of the people lives I took? No, but I'm proud of the people I brought home to their families when they have closure. You see, I didn't join the military to glorify or kill anyone. I joined the military because I came from a military background. My grandfather showed me the plane he was flying as a Tuskegee Airman and the racism he incurred. When he got back home to Louisiana back then, they didn't respect him. In fact, they took those medals that he earned overseas and burned them up in front of his face, and he couldn't do nothing about it. After he did fight for this country, that's what he encountered, bigotry. But he taught me to never hate. He said one day America would wise up, and it has. And I held on to that. I remember being inside of a crop duster plane with him. I was about Silas Ferry's age and had a head full of hair. Like people see, was just flying. I enjoyed flying. It was just so great. And just sitting in the plane and just going up and down, it was great. I knew what I wanted to do, but my mother was against it. But when I turned old enough, she couldn't do anything about it, so I went and did what my dream wanted me to do. And then fast forward, and one night I was sitting at home with my wife, Elena. We was talking. I said, "Babe, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't want to stay retired." And she said, "Well, go back to school." I said, "And do what?" She said, "You like talking to people." So I put an application in the state of Missouri, University of Missouri, and they approved me to go to school. I had a little money left over, and I applied for my drug abuse license, my counseling license, my marital license. I have 3 of them, and they approved me. And that's how God work it out for you. And December the 27th or the 28th, if I stay on track, I will have my doctorate degree in psychology. Thanks to God, I will have that. But my life has been ups and downs. I remember having a stroke. I came home from work. Well, I shouldn't have been working. I came home from work. My wife said, "You been drinking?" I said, "No, I don't drink." She said, "What? You're slurring your words." And I said, usually I fight her and say, "I don't want to go to the hospital," but I went this time. And they stopped me from having a major stroke. And thank God for that. They said I wouldn't walk again, but I'm walking. They said I wouldn't talk right, and I'm talking. And everything they said I wouldn't do, I did it. Because God gave me the strength to overcome a lot of things. I've overcome so much in my short life on this earth. But guess what? I have no regrets. I did everything the Lord wanted me to do. I've defended my country, got my education, I love my family, and God loved me that much more. If I had to do it all over again, I wouldn't change a thing. Am I sorry I killed those men? Yes, I am. But I kept a promise to the American men and women here, and I brought them back home. And for that, I'm grateful, ever grateful. Did they all come back breathing? No, but they came back home. I gave them their family something that no one else could do. I gave them closure. But that I'm grateful and I always will be. I can sleep good at night because I kept a promise. My dad taught me this thing: never break your word. If you say you're going to do something, do it. Even if it's the last thing you do it. Always keep your word, and I try to do that. I'm not perfect by no means, but God has allowed me to stay on course. Have I fell off? Of course. My wife didn't like me when she first met me. She told me, she's like, "You're not my type." I'm like, "What? Excuse me?" She was sorry. She actually told me that. And I'm like, I've never been told that before, so it was kind of a hard pill to swallow. So I swallowed it, and the rest is history. But God always gives you what you need. Sometimes we don't know what we need. And the military was good for me. helped me to grow to become a man. It really did. And to all my brothers and sisters who served, God bless you. Because if it was easy, everybody would do it. It wasn't easy. It's not easy leaving your family behind. It's not easy flying in an unknown country. You don't know where you're flying to because remember, we're on their homeland. They know the system better than we do. So we fly in the enemy territories. We don't know where all the dead spots are, nothing at, but we did it. And old as I am now with my disability, if they call me right now, I would go. And without any hesitation, no matter who the president is, they call me now, I would go. Because that's how much I love this country, because they've done so much for me and my family and my ancestors. They've done so much. Because America is not perfect, but it's perfect for me. It's not great, but it's great for me. Because there are other people outside this nation who wish they had it as good as we do. We waste more food than they can ever eat in a year's time. We have it easy here, folks. But this freedom didn't come easy. It had sacrifices. Men and women like myself paid the cost. So the freedom that you enjoy, always embrace those who serve for this country. We love the Lord. We love our family. But we also took an oath to defend this country to the last man and woman. Not just me, the pastor, and everybody else who raised their hands. I came back, my friends called me fool. They said, "You're a fool from fighting this white man's war." And I don't talk to those guys today. Because it's not a white man's war, it's our war. We're all in this together. We may look different, talk different, act different, but we're all in this room, in this fight together. Because when I fight for you, and you fight for me. So I don't regret a thing that I did over there. God bless you.
Will has consented to take questions if you have them. If you have a question, raise your hand and I'll get the microphone to you so that he can hear what you're asking. Next one, be ready.
You were telling me about the church in Lawrence that you worked at.
You want to tell us a little bit more about that?
I'll tell you something. I was a pastor. I was with the AME church, and they voted me as head pastor for like 2 years. And when I came home, because I was searching, and I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I do know that I love the Lord. But I don't like organization that puts the organization before they put God. And so we parted ways on a mutual understanding, because my job was a pastor when I was doing it. Because in my opinion, you say you retired, pastors never retire. And the thing of it is, when you are a pastor, you want to save as many people as you can. You want to save souls. You want to go down and get dirty. That's what I was telling Jim the other day. I like going out. That's why I love the job I have, because I like getting dirty with these kids. Some people look at them and call them trash. I see an opportunity. I see my future. Because they're lost. People like myself and you people just look down on them, but you can't look down on our kids. They're our future. So I took a job that nobody else would want.
Please raise your hand if you'd like to ask a question. Did you all follow up?
There was you said something about it was a part of the Underground Railroad.
Yes. Yes, the Lawrence Church in Lawrence, Kansas, the AME Church, is the oldest historical black church in the state of Kansas. It's where the slaves was taken from Missouri and went under the church to get to Oklahoma City. If you go to there now, it's a historical landmark now. If you go underground, there's a railroad, like a little small railroad track that goes until where the slaves got on it and pulled their way to freedom. And right now, so they came in and bought the church. The city of Lawrence bought the church. as a historical landmark.
Next question, raise your hand and I'll get.
Where did you do your basic training?
I did my basic training in San Diego, California.
Well, I thought maybe it might be Fort Leonard Wood.
No, they didn't take me.
Next question. Some of these military people have inside jokes, I think. Mike?
I just want to say thanks to Will, and also we need to recognize Pastor Dave. He's a veteran also.
Amen.
Oh, I'm sorry. We need to recognize Pastor Dave. He is also a veteran.
Yes.
How did you miss that?
Well, he's a Marine, so they really don't count. No, I'm just joking. I used to hate being on a ship with a Marine. Somebody gonna start a fight. It's usually the Marine Corps.
Well, I'll ask the same question I asked some of these other families. What was the service? You were U.S. Marine Corps,
Yeah.
and what was your rank?
I was an E4, and I was in a Dragon missile platoon anti-tank assault demolition.
See what I mean?
What years did you serve?
Oh, I served in the late 70s. And also my dad, I would want to honor him as well. He served from 1942 to 45 on B-17s in the European theater in World War II. He worked with the radio. He was radio.
Do you have any idea how many flights he?
He never talked about it. The only thing I know is that my mom said that when they landed back in the United States, he kissed the ground and promised he'd never get on another plane again. And which he held that promise till 1975 when some friends of theirs wanted to take them to the U.S. Virgin Islands, and my mom said, "You're getting on that plane."
I don't know how about you, but we didn't have many in our family that served. My uncle was in Korea, but my wife's dad served proudly in Southeast, the Pacific Islands, and he came home from the war, never talked about it. So some years later, when the kids were all grown up, he started getting invited to these receptions of reunions. And one of his friends came over and told my mother-in-law, "Do you have any idea what we did? They strung wires for the radios ahead of the Marines before they landed. And none of us had any idea how dangerous his work was because he never spoke about it." And I have a feeling that's a lot of the experience of some, but it makes us all the more proud, I think, in some cases. The service has been silent because they did what had to be done. Other questions? Raise your hand. Yes, Kathy?
I just wanted to say that we have another veteran that we failed to mention, and that's Bruce Orner, if he would tell us his service.
I did 21 and a half years in the Air Force, a Vietnam veteran, and retired as an E7 in 1995.
Thank you. Whenever you try to compile a list, there's always going to be some that you forget. So please forgive us for that. Please forgive us for that. That's 33.
You see,
33 just among us that we know of. Go ahead, Will.
You see, as a veteran, a younger veteran, and some of these older veterans, they paved the way for guys like me because I had a lot of technology on my side. They didn't. They had guts. We rely on technology, and guys like these gentlemen here, they paved the way. And for that, I thank you for your sacrifice. Yes, I was in the air, but we had technology. I had a helmet. Whenever I look at the gun go, you guys didn't have that technology. And I thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, sir.
Thank you, Bruce. Another question? Please raise your hand and I'll bring the microphone to you. It's a fascinating story. There must be more questions. Yes, Bob?
Yeah, thank you, Will, so much for your testimony tonight. I didn't catch your branch.
The United States Air Force, the best one in the world.
Yes, I hear you. I volunteer over at Linwood VA Medical Center, and all of the branches have an attitude over there. They all say they're the best. My question for you is, what type of helicopter were you flying?
Well, I flew back then they used the Huey, the old Huey helicopter, because they would have both doors that slide open. And they are a unique ship. Them things do not fall down. They can shoot them as long as you hit the motor. They will fly underwater if you put it there. That's the best built copter they ever made. I mean, that thing, it's a tank, man. You couldn't bring it down. So for a missile would, but God saved me for that. But thank him for that.
How long were those Hueys in service?
I think until
When did they start?
I don't know when they started.
Were they in Vietnam?
Well, they started in Vietnam War, but I think when Nixon left Vietnam War in '72, they threw some in overseas. They left some over there, like we always do. Weapons over there, and as far as I know, there are some still in commission because it's a unique helicopter. It's so wide, it holds a lot of people, and it's the only one that allows both doors to be open while you're in the air. So. I don't know if they still do them or not, but I know I love it. It's great.
I don't know how accurate some of these stories are, and I hate to bring them up, but if you've seen Good Morning Vietnam or Forrest Gump, both of the helicopter was in both of those movies for sure, and others, of course, as well. Next question. I don't know about you, but this has been a very, very special night. Once again, let's put our hands together for Will.